Hey folks, today we're going to do a unboxing of the Perfex Industries aluminum skid plate kit for the Yamaha Grizzly 700. These ones here fit from 2016 to 2022s. Mine is the 2021 EPS SE. So we'll do a quick unboxing, we'll do an install. Hopefully everything goes well, but we'll kind of go through it together. I'm just going to be in the shed, just basic tools, basic know-how, and we'll see how it all turns out. And then, yeah, I guess we'll do a quick first impressions afterwards as well. So, hope you enjoy. Nice. Installations and everything. Oh, yeah, have a look at this, folks. That is very nice. And all the hardware too. Perfect. Okay, so everything is out of the boxes. I set it up in the shed here in the way that makes sense to me for the install. Next I'm going to bring in the four-wheeler, set it up in the way in the shed here that I can actually do the install. You guys can go online and look at all their specs and everything, but a few things that kind of stick out to me is that it's all 3/16 aluminum, and it's all laser cut for the right fit for the bike. Other than that, there's the holes for the oil drain. Everything's recessed. There's a warranty on everything here for make sure everything looks good and no manufacturer defects. And it's also 100% made in Canada, so hard to go wrong with that. Yeah, so we'll set up a few things and we'll start the install. Thanks for checking out the unboxing. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a setup here. We're going to go from the winch up to the rafters. Sorry folks, mind the light. So yeah, just up here we got that strapped around. Make sure we got all kinds of lifting power. We'll see how well that works out. There we go. Bike is supported. There's enough tension. Everything's going to look alright. I did just do an oil change, so that's why that's a little darker right there. But now we'll be able to take some of the OEM, the factory plastic skid plate off and try to do the install of the new stuff. Alright, here we go. Alright folks, and just remember I'm not a mechanic, but we'll do the best we can here with what we have. So it looks like the first one's a 10 mil socket. I'm just looking at how this is kind of put together. It looks fairly straightforward. We'll start with the top, or the front, I guess. I already had a couple of front A-arm guards. They were just the factory plastics as well. One was already gone when I bought the four-wheeler used, and the other one I managed to break last winter when we were having some fun. So anyways, that's half the need for the aluminum. I think that would be a really good improvement for the protection of the bike. Yeah, so that's the front piece. Just took a few dings in the front, nothing too bad. Attach there and here. Not so much on that side. That's them. And we'll start working on the bottom ones. Couple of decent gouges here. Okay, and for the rear guards, there's actually another bolt on the back here, and then we'll take those two off, and then we'll worry about these ones right after. And these are 8 mils, just to make things interesting. And for these guys are 25, a T25 Torx, and not sure about the back, but it's a little nut, so I'm just going to use an adjustable. Yeah, so I had a good little break on that one, both there and here. A good scrape there. I did pressure wash all this before starting too, so. And look at this guy, same idea. Nice big break there. Definitely a good sized rock. Alright, so now that's all done. It looks pretty good. A chance to look at some of the moving parts underneath, clean it up maybe just a little bit before the install, and we might try that one next. Alright, so now we'll put on a couple of stickers. A little foam, I guess. Alright, then we'll peel the little film on the back of the aluminum plates. Sometimes the fun part. And next we'll put a couple of these bolts and spacers. Just mention is to kind of leave everything nice and loose, just to kind of start it off with, and then tighten it up once everything is actually mounted to the ATV. And these flex flange bolts are actually all 10 mils, so nice and simple. And then we'll actually try to put that on. And so what I ended up doing is to try to keep the plate in a half decent spot. I just used a couple of extra hands. And down here as well, I just kind of found roughly where these go. Gave them enough of a gap so that I can still get the spacer behind it. We'll see if that works. Place. Oh yes, there's one. Look. You want to keep them just a little loose to give a little bit of wiggle room to fit the base plate properly. But now we'll try to fit these other 6. Awesome. And these will actually go right around the frame. Start with so everything has to come over this way a little bit. Alright, a couple more. This will be interesting. better than I thought. Alright, so these are now snug. I did have to loosen that guy up. I think I did tighten it up obviously a little too much earlier. So these are just snug enough that hopefully if I need to move them around a little bit, it'll give me just enough wiggle room. And there's the drain plug, so that's perfectly lined up. That is solid. I like it. Alright, and we'll move on to the next step. And so now we're going to try to put the front skid plate where it belongs. So there's going to be 3 mounting points on the bottom here, and I've tried this a few different ways now, but I think putting the front one might be the best way, so we'll try that first. So that'll be bolts, then on the inside of the frame here we'll do the washer and the lock nut. It's a tricky one to access. I found just by sneaking my hand in from the very top, I can actually get it in there. I had to take the glove off because I couldn't safely get it in there. Get myself back out. So now, I'm going to put that on nice and light because we need some access for down here. There we go. And for these ones down here, it'll be bolts between the plate and the frame will be a spacer, and then washer and lock nut on the outside of the frame, or the inside, sorry, of the frame. Nut is on. Remember, spacer, it'll still fit. Oh, I think we might. Ah. And the washer. And the lock nut. A little trickier, but manageable. And yeah, so then after that, there's just these 2 top bolts. Again, these are all 10 mils in the socket. Here. I can actually start to tighten these ones a little bit. My tiny adjustable. That's not bad. Lines up with a few things. Right, that is snug. And then the last two for this bottom skid plate setup are the ones for the plastic guards. It's down here. One goes here. And that's all pre-threaded in the bottom plate too, so that makes things a lot easier. Than trying to jam your fingers in there, you know. Yeah. Just snug for now. Yeah. Might try to bring that up just a little bit, leave a small gap right in here. Aside from that, that looks good and feels good. Yeah. Nice little laser cut logo on there too. Looks really cool. I like it. Alright. So that's pretty well it for the two bottom pieces for the bottom skid plate. Alright, I'll move on to the next parts. Alright, so the next part of the install will be the front A-arm guards. So first things first, we'll take the plastics off the plates. Here's the fun part. And make sure all the nuts and bolts and everything's in the install kit as well. And the front hardware. Okay, and so next we'll put some of these little rubber insulators or rubber foams, I guess. Okay, moving right along. Our next step, we're going to install the front guards, the front A-arm guards. The first one, a couple of things here. This will be the original screw hole for the plastic guard that we're actually going to reuse for this one here. But we're also going to install this rubber clip first, because that'll just make things way easier here in a minute. And squeeze that a little bit. That'll line it up better here in a second. And then we have a spacer and a hex bolt. Put the spacer on there. I've seen people use grease on that before. It actually kind of keeps it in place. Right now I don't really need it. I'm just going to do it like that. It'll be enough for what I need to do. Line it up. Just keep that nice and loose. So you see how that little clip here now actually lines up perfectly on the inside. But our next step will install, there's two different brackets. They call it a small and a large. We'll call this bracket the large, which goes at the front. So that goes around the frame. Like that. And just a regular hex bolt for that one. Again, kind of loose, just to feed the other ones. Then you'll do the back bracket with the small bracket, and that'll be a carriage bolt and a lock nut. So this, you want to put it in, like this, just to kind of keep everything in place. Feed that right through. And lock nut in the back. Tighten that after. And the other carriage bolt And with the little square indent on the inside, that'll feed through that little rubber bracket. And that's through both of them. There we go. And lock nut inside that one as well. You can get your fingers in there. Just watch yourself on that one there, folks. A little better. There, now press it in, and we'll lock that on. Alright, so that's it for the parts on that, so we can now tighten everything up a little bit. Make sure everything is in place. And this will be a 10mm socket in the back to lock these ones. Feels good. How about that one? We'll figure that out here in a second. And this one here too. Perfect. That looks good. We'll figure out a way to tighten that guy right there in a minute. And then we'll just do the same thing for the other side. Alright, so for this last carriage bolt right here, the best tool for me that I've got is actually a 10mm box end wrench. If you had a ratcheting one, probably make things a little easier. I don't have one, so this is what I'll use. Just get in there and little moves till she's good and tight. There. This is all done. So we'll move on to the other side. Okay, so we got one side done. Now we'll do the other side. Just remember, we'll put this clip in place. A rubber clip. Squeeze it good and tight there now. Save us some hassles after. Little spacer. And a little hex nut. Nice and loose. Remember the big clip in the front. The hex nut as well. Nice and loose. Now the other smaller bracket, get that one in here. Do a carriage bolt for that one. With a lock nut. And for that rubber bracket, another carriage bolt. Can you find it? It is. With a lock nut. And again, that one there is quite tricky. Tricky. Alright, they're all nice and loose. We'll tighten each one of those a little bit at a time to make sure everything fits nice and snug. And then that'll be it for that one. Yeah, same problem on this side. That won't work. So, we're back to this guy. Alright, so I'll keep playing around with that guy there, and I think that'll be it for the front guards. Okay, so now we're going to install the rear A-arm guards. So we get the two of these. First things first, we'll remove the plastic covering on there, and we'll make sure we got all the rear hardware that we need for the back. And same with the other one. We will install these little rubber sticky pads on the plates. And again, the instructions are pretty decent actually. It kind of gives us all the instructions where to put them on and everything else too. And if it's anything like the front, these rubber clamps are not my friend. But that could be just my own problem, so we'll see how that turns out. Alright, I just kind of marked them just quickly here just so I know where to put them. Okay, and now I'll just do a quick dry fit, make sure everything's going to line up, and we'll start bolting that on too. Alright, so to do the dry fit, usually I'll put the piece in the way that will actually fit, make sure I put those rubber stickers at the right spot, everything there looks good, and we'll make sense of these as well, so they'll be going against this arm right here so that we can see them here. So I'm going to start by setting those up. Nope, that's not right. There. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? One there, and sense. Right here. I can tell those ones are going to be a lot of fun to put in. And then this one here will be for something else. The first little bit, that worked out. And that one's going to be a lot of fun. There is mention to take the wheels off, and I might have to do that. Might be a job for a little later then. We'll see. And I just tried to do it so that I'd attach the first part there, but I couldn't get my hands around to this guy here. So I might try to install that one first. And then seems to be the trickiest to get around there. Nope. I think we're gonna put these on once the bike is back down on all fours. All right, good to know. So now we're going to install the footrest plates. As you can tell, I've already lost a few pieces from mine here, broken off a few times. You can tell, like, hit a decent rock here as well. I think these will be pretty essential for how I want to use the ATV, the Grizzly. Yeah, so we'll get going with that. It's a little dry fit. That's going to look fantastic. Proper drainage and everything else too. So, you know, we've done this before. First things first, gotta make it look pretty. Peel all these stickers. I'd rather peel this stuff before we start than after. It's all going to get scratched up anyways as soon as we take it on the trail. But then at least we're not fighting all of the fasteners and stuff once it's all been installed. And we'll get the fastening kit and the instructions. Alright, get this going. Okay, so one of the first steps is to remove the bolts that hold the plastic footrests on both sides. But just before we do that, I'm actually going to put these rubber stickers on the plates. And they give you two, but essentially you just got to cut them in half and install them from there. Okay, we'll take those bolts off the plastic footwells. And these are all 10 mils as well, yeah. That's all four there. Yeah, so just these four right there. Next, we are going to install these four boards. We're just going to use the same mounts as was already there before. I'm going to line it up from here right now. Looks pretty good. So from the other side, we're going to use the bolts and the smaller washers. Like so. And on the other side, I'm going to use the larger washers and the lug nuts. And we'll do that for all four spots. Make sure it's all lined up properly as well. Alright, then we'll make it look pretty, make sure they're all nice and centered. And I have the rear seat, and it has also like the footrests. So I think I'm going to have to get longer bolts for that tie down point. Anyways, it's not a big deal. We'll get to the store here in a little bit, or I'll take a look at the extra bolts from some previous jobs and stuff, and we'll see what I have. Anything kicking around will probably do the job, but stainless, probably not a bad idea. Alright, and we'll attach these. Yeah, so these are all 10 mils. Decent. These seem to be sticking out a little bit more than the others. I'll just take another look and make sure I didn't over tighten these. But yeah, that's pretty well it for that one side. We'll move on to the next one after, and that'll be that. Okay, I think that's about it, aside from that last one that I'll probably replace for a slightly longer one. Probably another 10 mils on that bolt would do the job. And I'm going to call these good. They look fantastic. Okay. Alright. So everything here is fairly nice and tight. I'm just going to give one last little tightening just to make sure, because I don't really want to be bringing the bike up and down all over the time. So we'll one last little tight, and then we'll drop the bike back on all fours. Again, most of these are all the 10 mils too, which is really quite nice and handy. Alright, everything's looking good, looks fantastic, and then the two rear we'll do, we'll try anyways. Once we have it on all four, then we'll have to jack that up. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to try to do the rear guards, the plate guards on the swing arm, on the A-arms, and we'll just try to jack it up, see if we have any better luck with it like this. Instructions do say to jack it up and give it a try So I didn't have a whole lot of luck when it was standing up, so we'll see how this works out. That's pretty good. Alright, so I just did a dry fit and everything still looks the very best. So it does talk about trying to put in the first nut here in place with the existing retainer from the plastics that were there before, and on here where we still have the rubber what do you call those now, the rubber clamps are there from earlier. I'm going to try to put these carriage bolts through in a way that it'll hold. Tricky. Ah, it's fighting. That's awesome. Another one here in the back. That one's in place, and the last one is just a longer carriage bolt with a lock nut. She goes in here. And another existing hole that's actually right on that A-arm. Locks in place. The lock nut. Alright, now we just gotta tighten those in place. And these are all 10 mils. Everything else. Here. If that looks good on that side, we'll just put the tire back on and we'll move on to the next. Okay, so I just did a quick dry fit of the other side, doing the same setup. Main bolt over on the back end over here. Everything seems to be lining up pretty good. Start with the little bolt onto the original fastener from the plastics. Nice and loose. And we'll try to figure out a way to get this guy in there too. Alright, you got a couple of threads. We'll do the back one. And the final bolt through in the back. Through the frame. Lock nut. Alright, so now we're just going to tighten up everything. Alright, that is solid. Just going to do one last little tight and then we'll put the tire back on. So here we have it, folks, the complete install skid plate for the Yamaha Grizzly. We got the base plates front and bottom, the two A-arm guards in the front, skid plate footwells. It looks fantastic. And the rear A-arm guards. Yeah, really happy, solid. The next part's going to be the fun part. It's taking it off-road, making sure that it can withstand, I'm sure it will, the abuse that I can give it. It looks fantastic. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, that was fun. Had a blast setting it all up. Like I said too, my only problems were with the rubber clamps, the two in the front A-arms. These guys here were just a little painful to install. Maybe that was just me. I think it's just the way the design is set up to make them solid enough to support the aluminum plates. But anyways, everything else went really well. Once I had the bike back on all fours and jacked up the rear end to take the tires off, those two bottom plates went on really easily. And you know, yeah, it was all, it was really a lot of fun to put together. Anyways, looks like a really solid kit. Can't wait to get it out on the trails and really test it all out. I don't have any concerns or issues with this kit. I think it's pretty awesome. Anyways, if you guys are interested, you can check out the Perfex Industries website, P-E-R-F-E-X Industries website. It has a bunch more information there that I can give you. So anyways, it's pretty good for a Canadian company. If you guys are interested for pricing or availability or other products that they make, just check out their website. They'll be able to help you out. So anyways, thanks a lot for checking out the video. It was a lot of fun, and take care.